Hey everyone, in this video, I want to give you some great tips regarding workflow settings that if you don't know about, these could save you a lot of time, energy, and trouble. And there's a few extra couple hacks regarding workflow settings that I also want to share. So stay tuned and let me help you just understand them a little bit better. And let's hop in here and take a look. Let me shrink myself down a bit, move myself over. And this right here is just a demo account that I've got set up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into automations, and there's two things. There's two workflow settings that we're going to discuss. One of them is a workflow setting per workflow. And then we're going to go over something called the global workflow settings, which appear. Now, you may not have ever noticed that, but these have a couple of really great features in it that you should be taking advantage of if you are not. So let me start off by just showing you the first one. So right now I'm going to search for a nurture sequence here, and I'm just going to use this AI customer nurture sequence that I built. In a situation here, there's a settings right here inside of the workflow that we're going to take a look at here. But one of the things I want to show you first here is if you ever deal with specifically nurture sequences or email sequences, email campaign workflows, things like that, this could save you a lot of time. So please pay attention to this. Notice here in the email workflows that I do not have a from name or from email specified here. Okay. I don't have that. Now, why is that? Typically, if you don't set these two parameters inside of the workflow setting, which you can, and then once you set that in the workflow settings, it will apply to all of the emails that you create. Then what can happen is you can very easily change the from and the from email address just by changing the workflow settings. You don't need to go into every email action inside of the workflow and set it. That is hugely powerful. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if you come over here to settings, there are a couple of things in here, but right now, I'll cover these real quick. As far as the contact, allow re-entry. This right here is a setting that basically allows you to sit back and have somebody go through this workflow more than once. Now, in case for whatever reason, you only want the person to go through this workflow one time, you do have to come and turn this off. This is enabled setting by default. So if you don't want somebody to go through the workflow a second time for whatever reason, please make sure you come in here and toggle this off like that. Okay. Allow multiple opportunities. Again, that's an opportunity that happens, or the ability to happen inside of your opportunities and pipelines. If you want that, if you want to have a stop on response. Now, this is something that's built in by default. So let's just say this is a nurture sequence. And let's just say that you're sending out emails and you get an email back from a particular customer, or you get a response back from maybe an SMS message. If you want them to stop, if you want the workflow to just stop after they respond the very first time, then please turn this on. Okay. You can do other things to do that. You can add like a trigger link and have the trigger link workflow kick off and remove them from the workflow. But if you want to have just a stop on response, this is where you do it. Now, here's some of the communication pieces that I was talking about that were really powerful. The account time zone. If you want the account time zone to be in the same time zone as the account, then that's going to be up to you, but you can set this to be a contact time zone. Now, keep in mind, in order to use this, you will need to make sure that every contact that you have has a time zone selected. Now, this is really good if you're communicating with people across the globe, because obviously if you're dealing with an account time zone, then let's just say you're in Pacific time, then all of your email communications and all the timing here will always be on the account, will always be Pacific time, but you do have the option of changing that if you want to. Now, here is another great one, time window. So if you only want your workflows to operate within a certain, like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, this is the default that they have here. If you only want your workflows to work during that time frame, then you need to set that up here. Now, this could be very powerful because keep in mind, whenever you're sending out workflows, you want to send out emails or text messages, you don't necessarily want to send them out on a Saturday or Sunday because your contact may not even be working then. They may not even be paying attention to, and you might get better attention or better response if you do it during business hours. And they could probably maybe even get irritated with you that you're texting or emailing them on the weekend. So that's just a thought, but you can come in here and specify a time window by which this works. Now, what this can do is this could help you from creating time windows inside of your workflows, because again, if you don't have the restriction here, you can put the restriction in certain wait steps, wait for certain times of the day and things like that. You can do that in the workflow, but that's a little bit more work than just doing it here in the workflow settings. Now, here's where I'm talking about the from name and from email address. Whenever I set this up here, I didn't set it up here on purpose, but if you want to come here and set up this, then this sender, username, and email address will be used in all email communications that you have. Okay, again, that's very powerful because this nurture sequence I'm currently working on is 22 emails. That's 22 emails, or if you're dealing with a year long, that's 50 plus emails that you have to go in and manually set the username and the sender name and the sender email. Now, in case that ever changes, can you imagine having to go change 50 of them all at once versus just changing it here in the workflow settings? This is a powerful feature. This is one of the main reasons why I like using this for this reason alone. Now, here's another very powerful feature that GoHighLevel has. Let's just say inside of here for your texting. Now, I only have one number configured on this default account, but let's just say I wanted to have 2, 3, or 4 numbers. you may want to send out communications on your workflows, but you may not want that inbound communication to come back in on the same default number that your account is set up for. You may want that to come in on a secondary number because for several reasons. Number one, you could have a missed callback text back workflow that works on that specific number. You could have an the AI system monitoring that particular SMS for responses. There's several different reasons why you'd want to do that, but here you can actually specify, like you're sending out SMS messages, what number you want to go out from. So that's very powerful as well, because then that number, you can control it when they reply back to that number. So that as well. And then just mark as read, toggle this if you want the communication, the workflow to interact. That's another setting that you have as well. So people don't realize that these are settings that can happen inside of each workflow. Now, if you're doing snapshots, this is where it's very important, because if you're doing snapshots and you have clients and you're pushing these workflows to clients through snapshots, adjusting the settings inside of this workflow once inside of your snapshot account, and then updating that inside of your snapshot will ensure that all of your future snapshots and all the accounts that you push this to will have the correct settings on them. Now, of course, you might want to not put the email settings in here for those particular workflows or your snapshots. I'm not sure by chance if that even follows through from a snapshot or not, but just be careful, because you don't want to obviously have your name or email address on clients' email workflow communications. That could be a problem. So these are definitely need to be readjusted per client. So that's one thing I want to show you, that a lot of people I don't hear people looking at that or even discussing it. They just look at the default workflow and just say, okay, this is what I get, and just begin working with it without ever knowing that these settings exist. Now, another area is the global workflow settings. Now, I'm going to come back up in here where we missed a few things, but ever since the summit of 2025, GoHighLevel has introduced an advanced builder. So if you haven't dealt with this, it's very cool. I come up with a whole video on my YouTube channel that goes over the advanced builder and some of the reasons why you'd want to use it. This right here is where you can set the default. That's why it's a global workflow setting. So if you want the advanced builder to be the default, then this is what you need to do. I'm not going to do that here, but if you did want to do it, you could switch it and confirm it. That way, all new workflows that are built are automatically always built in the advanced builder. Now, if you don't know, please be careful. There are some caveats to the advanced builder that do not allow you to switch between the advanced builder and the standard builder, because there's some things that are lost. That the advanced builder does have some better features, and if you use some of those advanced features, you can lose those settings if you switch back to a standard builder. So watch my other video on my YouTube channel regarding the advanced builder if you want to know more. Now, you can also set security for this one, like who can switch between the builder. So you can actually allow, if you have one already built in a standard builder and you want to have somebody switch that, like you're given the authority for admins or even users in your client's account to go through the workflows and to actually adjust the builder to give them permissions. You can adjust who can do that by just selecting the accounts here and letting them switch between the different workflows. Again, if you even give them permission to the workflows to do that. Workflow permissions are did a whole other video on my YouTube channel, but you can set permissions to allow only agency users to access workflows if you don't want your clients to mess things up. So you can adjust security. I always recommend doing security at a folder level. That's just a quick tip. Now, notifications. If you ever want, here's another great one for admins. If you ever want inside of your account for any errors that happen at the client account, just go to say a support email address, then this is a perfect place to include that. So any errors that happen on whether it's a provided workflow that you built for them or something that the sub-account users or admins built for themselves, you can get a notification when that error happens. So just simply come here, add your support email address, support at whatever, add the email address here to the global settings, global, and now any of the workflows that have an error will automatically go to your support team that in turn can be notified to let you know when something happens at a client level. Rather than having to go back and look and wait for something to break, it's always better to be proactive, get a notification, and all you have to do is set this up one time whenever you set the customer's account up, and that's all you need to do. So you might want to include this on one of your onboarding steps. So right now, this is a really great feature that GoHighLevel's put in here, the autosave capability. I can't tell you how many times, I personally have a Mac. I can't tell you how many times I've swiped on my finger movement gestures and went back from a workflow that I was working on and just, it didn't save my settings. And then I had to go redo all that work again. So I definitely have autosave turned on. So that's something else that you can do. Now, also the ability to pause workflows. Why is it important? There are times where beyond setting like a Monday through Friday schedule, remember we could set that at the workflow level. There are things that you may want to do at a company level. For instance, let's just say the company is closed for Thanksgiving. The company is closed for Christmas or things like that. You might have specific days like holidays and specifically that you want to set up where you don't want to have any communication happen on workflows during that time, even if it is within the Monday through Friday period, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. that we just saw earlier at the workflow level. So here's where you can actually set timeouts, even Monday through Friday, for company related events where they're not going to be there. So again, this is where if you wanted to, you could come in here and let me just go through. I used Christmas. Let's just say we're doing Christmas Eve to the 31st. So we're going to confirm that whole week from December 24th through the 31st, no communications because we're not going to be there. Now you could say, which workflows does this count? Which workflows are active in here? So you could select the ones you want or just do all published workflows. Now, here's a great thing about this little checkbox. Beautiful. Annually. So once you set this, even though this is set for 2026, annually, it does this automatically for all of them. So this is huge benefit. If you want to include vacation day, not vacation days, sorry, holidays and things like that, that people have, this right here is perfect for that. And you can adjust the settings. And again, this might be something that you go over with your client as far as onboarding to make sure that none of the emails, none of the just communications that you would normally have with customers go out during days, because then it can make you seem foolish. And if you're emailing people or perhaps even texting people on Christmas, and that just makes you in bad form. So anyway, that's one thing I want to show you. I'm going to move myself over here and just let you know, GoHighLevel has built AI into everything, and they've actually built AI into the workflows now. So you can just simply use AI to say, create a workflow that does this and this, and then the Ask AI feature inside of GoHighLevel will go through and actually create a workflow based upon that as best that it can. So it's really great to have AI build it. Now, if you don't want that feature, if you don't want to have that big box pop up at the top all the time, you can just simply turn this feature off if you don't want it on. So that's something else that you can do. But these are all great things, again, that just require you to get things set up one time. That's it. Once they're set up one time, you don't need to set them up again. They're pretty easy to do, and they could save you a lot of time, energy, and trouble and embarrassment at the client level, and really makes you put that extra effort in to make sure that your client looks really good, and also to make sure you look very good, because you can adjust these settings in your own client accounts just to make sure that you don't communicate with clients when you really don't mean to. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button, leave me a comment about this. And if you haven't signed up for GoHighLevel, if you're looking to sign up, I'm an affiliate of GoHighLevel. You do get a 30-day free trial if you sign up using my link below. Also, if you're interested in building AI and AI agencies, specifically with reputation management, I have a free course that goes over specifically with that, and a bunch of free bonuses, snapshots that make that whole process a lot easier. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.